All right, it seems that most everybody was pleased with this flight from my Fimi A3 from the ground, the first flight, but I was less than pleased of the aerial view from the drone, and I'll tell you why as I go along. This is it. Now, it doesn't look too bad. The sun is right directly overhead. It's almost noontime, real noontime. It's close to 2 o'clock. Well, that would make it 1 o'clock real time. And that don't look too bad. The color's not bad. The camera looks like it's doing good. And it's steady. I really give it to this. This camera on this drone is steady. I am being somewhat violent with my movements. But anytime the sun comes, the sky comes in view, it's washed out. And I have found out that I don't know as much as I thought I did about photography. I am or was well versed in 35 millimeter SLR photography years and years and years ago. And looking down, as long as you ain't got the skyline, the sky itself, as long as you got something in the background, it handles it okay. But it does not handle the skyline, and it does not handle the ground in direct sunlight. I don't know. I'm going to have to change this camera settings. I don't know whether I can do anything about it or not. I'm going to have to find something to tell me more about videoing from up above. That's driving me crazy. I used to take pictures on the ground. I was pretty good taking pictures with a 35 millimeter camera. But this aerial videoing, I never did do videos, but the aerial videoing is driving me nuts. And I am whipping this thing. Y'all seen it in the other video. I was whipping this thing back and forth. It was violent, and I was trying to see how it was going to handle it. And to me, it looked like it was handling it pretty good. Basically, this first flight was me seeing how stable this son of a gun was. If it was going to be as stable as JD Quad tells me, and Bill M. and Captain Drone, not Doctor. I keep calling him a doctor, but he's just a captain. And you can see a lot of times I just let it sit there, and it looks like it's moving around, but it's not really moving around a whole lot, and I expect it to move just a little bit. But I was moving that thing around pretty fast, and it still stayed level. It was just level. And over there, the trees look pretty good, but with that sun shining directly down from overhead, I got to find out a way to compensate for that, and I just don't know what I'm doing. I tried, after this first flight, I tried changing some camera settings, and it just didn't work. I kept adding and adding and adding, and I think I was messing up, and I should have been subtracting. But I am well pleased with the performance of the drone, and the camera I think is going to be fine if I learn how to use it. It's not near the camera that's on my H Plus, but I haven't tried my H Plus directly, sunlight directly overhead, so I don't know how it's going to act either. But and there went a shadow, and I said something about that shadow in the other video. I thought that was my drone. I wasn't really paying attention to the drone. I was just letting it sit there. And when that shadow flew over, I caught out of the corner of my eye, and I thought that drone had done left the country. But I looked, and there it was, just sitting there. And that's pretty fast. That's pretty fast movement. It don't look as fast on the video as it did from the ground because the damn blame camera just stabilized the flipping stuffing out of it. I mean, that camera is doing a really, really good job of stabilizing the violence I was putting on it. And I don't know, that old man that lived there where that pole belonged to. I think he was a ham operator, but I don't remember. I was so little when he died. But that may just be a scanner antenna. Radio Bill, tell me what that is when you get a chance, if you watch this. And there's my good neighbor's house. And they ain't laying around there naked, so I didn't get to see nothing. I'm gonna sneak a peek over top of this tree and see what happens when the skyline comes into view. It just washes out. That sky was beautiful. It had some white fluffy clouds in it, and sometimes it's hard to see the drone. That drone is white. It's hard to see the drone against the skyline, but with the sun directly overhead, it just wipes out everything. And it was wiping out the view screen pretty good back there where I was sitting at, although that's better than a phone. To me, it's just that view screen is not the best platform. Or maybe the typhoon has spoiled me, I don't know. But see, now that don't look too bad unless you're looking at the dirt, because the ground gets a little washed out, but the sun is, like I said, the sun is almost straight overhead. You can tell by the short shadows. And that's my junky old house. And the reason I do these things and keep boring y'all with the same old pictures over and over again is because I'm building a reference for myself, because I know what this stuff looks like from the ground, and I'm getting pictures from every drone I've got of the same stuff over and over from the air under different circumstances, and I can build a reference point to where I know what stuff's supposed to look like. And that's pretty much what it's supposed to look like until you bring the skyline into account. Now, I don't have much, and the pond looks pretty good from here. I hadn't noticed until just now, he's letting trees grow up on the dam down yonder, and that's not good. It got so crowded with trees when I was a child that we had to take something and just cut a path through there. You couldn't walk through there. You had to cut a path, and it was hard getting to the other side. The other side was growed up, and you couldn't hardly fish from the other side, which was all right. The pond was so narrow, you could stand on one side and fish at the other side, except at the dam. And the pond wasn't very deep at all. I could walk across it. At the time I was about 12, 14 years old. I was almost 6 feet tall, and I could walk across it at the midpoint, just walk across it and never get under the water. It'd come up, when it was plumb full, it might come up almost to my chin, but that's about it. And this end up here was nothing. I mean, it was really shallow, and in the right weather, it had a willow tree, and the willow tree fell over, and you found the biggest old bass and one hole in that willow tree. I must have pulled, he couldn't have been the same bass every time because I kept some of them, but I pulled a half a dozen of pretty good sized bass. I say big old bass to a 10, 11-year-old boy that big, probably 5 or 6 pounds out from that willow tree. And when it fell over, it got better. It got hard to fish, but it got better habitat for the fish when it fell over. I used a cream worm, a little 6-inch cream worm, sometimes Texas rigged, and sometimes with them weedless hooks with them bales that you hooked in the hook. I learned to fish in that pond with a cane pole and a wiggler. Used to have chinkapin worms. I don't know whether anybody knows what a chinkapin worm was or not, but it used to be over a place in Reidsville, Rockingham County, called Chinkapin Plantation. Beautiful, beautiful place. It was given to NC State or willed to them or something, and they used it for years. I don't know whether they still do or not for agricultural testing and stuff. But you could go over there and just rake the leaves, just rake them off with your hand, and there'd be worms out there, 6, 8, 10 inches long. You'd think they were snakes, but they weren't. They were just worms. And a cousin of mine brought them over here and put them down in the woods around that pond. That pond used to be a whole lot more wooded than it is now, and hardwood leaves and everything. And he just threw them worms out there till you got to where you could just go down there and rake the leaves and get them big old worms. And I got wrote up in the paper when I was probably 8 or 9. I don't reckon I was much older than that. Used to be a Burton guy. I think his name was Burton. Wrote for the Greensboro Daily News, and he come over and picked raspberries, and you can see it washing out the trees right there. He come over and picked raspberries that my daddies and my uncles had raised raspberries, strawberries, dewberries, name of berries, they raised them. And he come over to get him some, and I was down there, and he got to talk to me about fishing, and it tickled me to death, the old man taking time to talk to a child about fishing. So I walked him down and showed him my fishing hole and about them big worms, how you could just rake the leaves up and and I don't like that view right there at all. That's me. I got to be doing something with the camera wrong. But he wrote me up in the paper something about, I don't think he called my name, something about the fishing hole, the boys' fishing hole or something, just a little bitty blip. It wasn't much. But I made the darn newspaper when I was a kid, and I still got the article in there somewhere, if I can find it. But I was so proud of that, standing there. I think I might have been standing there, might have had a cane pole in my hand. I'd have to get the paper out and look now. But I was so proud of that. Everybody was proud of me making the darn paper. It was the last time I made the paper in a good way. And I never did really make it in a bad way, a horrible, horrible bad way, but I should have. But I was lucky. I knew some that weren't. Too many that weren't. And I don't know how high I got in this video, but I got pretty high. I got high on the quad. Not me. I stayed a little bit high, but the quad got up in the air a long ways. But the second part of this one, I don't even think I'm going to put up because I had messed the camera up. I'm sure my settings in the camera were fouled up completely, and I messed it up. But I got up to the full legal limit of 394 feet. I thought it was 392. I said in the other long video, but I realized later that it was 394 feet what I went to. And I think this drone will let you override that and go up some more if you want to. I don't know that I will. I don't need to. And somebody reviewed this drone and said he couldn't get it to go but something like 500 feet or something like that. But I tell you right now, mine, if you go in there and set the settings on it, looks like it'll go out to a quarter of a mile or more. Probably more than a quarter of a mile. But see, now looking down at the ground, at the grass, it's just right across there. When it was moving, it just looked like a solid green piece. Let me pause this for a minute and see if I can see something. Yeah, I had to pause it and find out where the end of the video was so I didn't get cut off too bad. But looking down with the sun shining right overhead, the grass, it's not very defined, but I'm landing because the thing tells me I ought to be landing, but I found out it don't know what it's talking about. When I landed and checked the voltage, they're just in a good store mode at this point. I mean, they ain't nowhere near depleted where they need to be. And this video is almost 14 minutes long. And I had been up a little bit before I cut the camera on. And I still got whatever I got to get down to where it needs to be. Like I said, it's the battery, each cell is about 3.7, a little over 3.7 volts, and I can drag them down farther than that, and should. So I'm gonna have to figure out when that thing's gonna make me return home, versus when I do it myself, so I can run it a little longer. Because I didn't think 14 minutes was gonna be enough. I was expecting 20, and I may not get 20, but I should get 18, and I got some more batteries coming for it. Jamie gets tickled at me. It's the first thing I do. Sometimes when I order a drone, I order more batteries before I even get the drone. And all I'm doing right there was trying to get down close to where I was supposed to be. And then I'm going to rotate the camera up. And if I was to get real close to that pad, I could probably land on it every time. But sitting back away from where I am, I miss it sometimes. But I think this time I'm going to get it. So I'm going to shut up right now and see a perfect landing. And then I'll do my end screen. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below. Tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like. Y'all have fun, play safe, and remember to always endeavor to persevere.